Welcome to Rich Off Real Estate. I'm your host, Clayton Neal, and this is your backstage pass to the world of real estate, where every deal, every plan, and every choice has a story. Being rich here isn't about money. It's about knowledge, insight, and seeing what really shapes the spaces we live and work in. From development to finance, from planning to impact, we go beyond the listings and the headlines. Knowledge is the real wealth. Let's get rich. This week, we have got a very special guest. This is my sister, my friend, my business partner, and really one of the top dogs in my mind, and probably a lot of other people's, as far as the commercial real estate goes here in the Metro Detroit area. The one and only Miss Kishon Harbert.
What up, though?
What up, though?
What up, though?
Well, thank you for joining. I know your time is valuable, so we gonna make sure we get the most out of this while I got you. You know what I mean?
I'm ready.
First, I want to thank you for joining us. I know getting people time is valuable in real estate. Time is money, and Kishon is money, right? So me getting quick 30 minutes it means a lot. You know what I mean? So I don't take anybody's time for granted. So we're gonna make sure that we make the most of this opportunity. Being a female boss out here, right? She got the red bottoms on, so you already know what it is. You know what I mean? Y'all can y'all see them? So she's stunning. So but on a serious note though, how things going?
Things are going well.
Yeah.
They're challenging, but you know me. I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Up for it. Up for it. So tell the people a little bit about you. Where you from, grew up, and we're going to get to how you got to this point.
For sure, yep. So I grew up in Detroit,
Okay.
Rosedale Park neighborhood, Grandmont
Okay.
Rosedale. I went to Dawson Elementary.
Wow, okay.
Right there in the hood.
Okay.
I went to Renaissance High School.
Okay.
For high school.
Okay.
Yep. And then U of M Dearborn.
Okay.
Yep. Marketing and
Okay. Yeah,
communications.
okay. So marketing. So it's funny because I was just listening to something, I don't know, it was yesterday, it was a show or something, and myself included, many of us that went to college, how many people are actually doing what they went to college for?
Not a lot.
Right?
Yeah. What I do has literally nothing to do with what
Me
I do for a
either,
living.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I went to school. Originally, I enrolled in the School of Nursing, University of Michigan School of Nursing, right?
Oh, wow.
Right. One semester, I'm like, this not for me,
Yeah.
right? Then I
Yeah.
thought I wanted to go into prosthetics and orthotics. So I'm kinesiology major, right? Biomechanics. And now we're in real estate, right?
We're where we're supposed to be.
Where we're supposed to be, right?
Yep.
Your journey, you never know where your journey is going to lead you. You
Yeah.
just have to believe and follow, right?
Yeah.
God will tell you where you need to be, right? You'll land there. So let's talk some real estate, right? So commercial broker aside, what does your real estate journey look like?
Yeah, so I actually kind of fell into real estate. I have some family who own some multifamily assets here in Washington, D.C. They also own some commercial assets here. And I took a little break from the corporate world. I was just burnt out of it. And they asked me if I could manage their commercial properties here in Michigan.
Okay.
So I'm like, how hard could that be? No problem,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So I took that on. I learned very quickly two things. One, I loved real estate.
Okay.
Two, I absolutely hated property management. So
That's a different beast.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I came up out of that really quick, but I stayed in commercial real estate with leasing, acquisitions, and that's really how my journey began in commercial real estate.
Wow.
I never did residential. I just jumped straight into commercial.
And commercial is a different. Kishon gives me stuff here and there, and say, come on over this side. Commercial is a different animal, right? And we don't take it lightly. I mean, residential is an animal in itself. Commercial is a different animal. It's just what animal are you willing to face?
And that's it. And that's really how I see it. I think it takes a strong skill set in either one that you're doing.
Yeah.
You just have to decide which one works for you. That's all.
Yeah. So you're a broker, right?
I am.
Now, and your name of your company is again?
Evolve Global.
Evolve Global,
Yes.
right? Broker. Evolve Global. So global, right? So I know I said Metro Detroit, but she said global. So that's a little bit bigger. And I know that you've done some things outside of the state of Michigan, right?
I have, yep.
Like where at?
Tennessee, Mississippi, Ohio, and working on some things. Oh, it's actually just another acquisition in Tennessee right now.
Okay, now
Yeah.
commercial real estate. So education, enlightenment. That's what we're about, right? Real estate unlocked. We want to make sure that people kind of understand, like, what types of commercial real estate properties, or who are you working with? Like, what are we talking about? Like multifamilies, retail, like plazas, storage units. What we doing?
Absolutely. So the ones that I focus on specifically are multifamily acquisitions, retail, and I do some office. So here for where my feet are in the state of Michigan, multifamily, retail, and that includes leasing retail as well, and some office. When I go out of state, we're in 5 states, 8 markets within those 5 states, and we really just focus on multifamily acquisitions there.
Okay.
Just because we're doing retail out of state or leasing out of state, you really, really, really have to know that market.
Yeah.
And that's kind of impossible to do from so far away. But multifamily, not so much.
Now, when it comes to like, commercial real estate, how difficult is it for one to like an investor, like just say myself, like say I'm an investor and I've only been doing like residential real estate my whole life, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say I want to buy a strip mall. Like realistically, like what does that process look like in comparison to me just saying, okay, I want to buy a 2-family flat on the west side of the city?
So I think the biggest hurdle, the barrier for entry in commercial is a little bit harder. The financing is a little bit tougher. So if you're going to buy a strip mall, of course, the bank is very interested in that asset, right? How well is it performing? What tenants are in there? Are they paying rent? How long are the lease terms in there? Are they credit worthy tenants? And then you have to be credit worthy as well. To come to the table and buy a strip mall, let's call it $1 million. Sometimes you got to come with 30-40% down to acquire that retail.
So you got to have your bag right, really, before you start even trying to think about you gonna go buy a Dollar General or something, right? You got to have the money right.
Your bag right, or access to somebody else's bag so you can handle it.
Now, a lot of your clients, are they, do you work with a lot of groups of investors, or is it a lot of like one person to say, I got a lot of money, I'm gonna do this, or is it generally like a group of people?
I would say mostly it's just individuals who are looking to invest. I work with a lot of physicians who are looking to park capital, not pay taxes on money that they have. Yeah. So that for sure. And then also some groups, but sometimes those are difficult because there's too many people trying to make and come to a decision. Yeah. So I kind of shy away from those unless there's one person who has the ability to hit go when we find an opportunity. Okay.
So what should one be looking for? Because average real estate deal, when I say average real estate deal, like a onesie, a single family property, somebody can kind of, you don't have to really be that thorough to analyze and see if this deal makes sense or not. Like, okay, well, it's got a tenant in there. Well, how much is that tenant paying per month? Okay, well, my mortgage is this, and roughly I can kind of figure it out. But if I'm going to identify if this is a good commercial real estate transaction, what should one be looking for? Like, what are the telltale signs if this is a good deal or bad deal, like surface level?
Yeah. So high level, first of all, what are the lease terms for that acquisition? So for the retail asset that we were talking about before, in commercial lending and leasing, 5 years is a standard for a lease. So if you are looking to buy an asset and it's only 1 year left, or there are month-to-month tenants in this retail strip center, this is not a good deal. It's going to be very difficult to finance unless you're paying cash, or unless the seller is open to some sort of seller financing, or people are familiar with the term land contract. But if you have an asset that's cash flowing, those leases are 5 years with options to renew already built into the leasing. It's managed properly. There's not deferred maintenance, meaning it doesn't need a new roof, it doesn't need a new boiler, or the price is set at a number that makes sense. So even if you have to do those things, it still cash flows. And that cap rate, or the rate of return that you're looking for, matches with what you want to do. it's a good asset.
Okay. No, that's good to know. That is really good to know. So one thing I wanted to bring up, and I hear this so often, and you're an expert, so I want to hear your thoughts. I hear people all the time say brick and mortar retail is dead. Is it dead?
Absolutely not. I think it depends on what you're trying to do in some of those spaces. So I
Okay.
would say things like clothing is difficult.
Yeah.
But I've placed a lot of tenants recently in leasing, specifically in the city of Detroit, that are doing fitness. That's not something you can necessarily do very well online.
Right.
Restaurants, those are
People gonna
always
always want to go eat.
absolutely.
You're a foodie.
Oh yes, don't get me started. That's the only reason why I work out, so I can eat. Food is definitely doing well, and then sometimes just unique experiences
Okay.
where people can have levels of entertainment, like paintball or pickleball is going into facilities. They're taking over like some of the Bed Bath and Beyonds are transitioning to like entertainment spaces. So I would say it depends on what you want to do with retail, but it's definitely not dead.
Okay. So it's not dead. You heard it here. It's not dead. So basically, you got to think outside the box and be a little bit creative.
Absolutely.
And figure out what the highest and best use is for the space that you're looking at. And if you're trying to do something where you can get that done online, that's probably not going to be the highest and best use for that particular
Correct.
property, right?
Correct.
No, that's good to know. So, like, do you invest yourself? Are you an investor?
I do invest myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have most of the things that I have right now, ironically, are residential property.
Okay.
And land. That's been a journey, but a very good one. I've learned a lot. It's humbled me in a lot of ways as well. I would say I'm a very intentional investor.
Okay.
I want the things that I own to have legacy and not just be something that I threw up where it's got the Home Depot special inside. I want people to feel safe and loved and like this is home.
Yeah. Quality. Do you do anything as far as short-term rentals or once again, we're not just throwing out names out here, but if you know what short-term rentals are, you can read between the lines. So, right?
I do. I have found my space in short-term rentals, so I absolutely love it. And initially, I had stays that were, 2 to maybe 4 days.
Okay.
And I would say within the last year, I positioned myself to just take a chance and say, I'm not accepting any stays that are less than 30 days. And that made me a little nervous because there's a lot of upfront costs and investing that goes into short-term stays.
Yeah.
But when I say it has changed the game for me,
Yeah.
all I get are doctors, nurses, people looking to for fellowships at certain hospitals that they have to complete. I had someone who worked at the Italian consulate in Detroit right? That's what I said. I didn't even know we had one of those.
Right.
But he stayed for 3 months. So
Okay.
I'm loving how that has transitioned, and that's my sweet spot.
'Cause I know
30 days.
you were a super host, right?
Still am.
Excuse me. Still am, right? Still am. But no, that's funny that you mentioned that because I kind of got involved in the what we call midterm leasing space, right? Which is generally greater than 30 days. At least 30 days or greater, 30 to 90 traveling professional space, right?
Yep.
And this is something for our audience to understand. A lot of people want to get into the short-term rental space, but you have to make sure that you understand, especially if you're in a condo or some association, you need to read your bylaws, right?
True.
Because transient tenancy is not allowed in a lot of the homeowner associations, meaning stays less than 30 days, right? They consider that transient tenancy, meaning that's a no-go.
Correct.
And even in some of the neighborhoods, some of the historic neighborhoods, people have complained and they put in different, well, I don't know how firm they are on there, but some of the more affluent neighborhoods where people were running these short-term leases, they like, no, we're not going to do that here. So if you're thinking about getting into that space, it's best to do your due diligence before, pulling the trigger, for lack of better terms, on that type of deal.
For sure. I would say too, it's not passive. So if you're a busy professional like me, um, it's not passive income. You know, there's changeover, and you want to make sure it's done correctly so
Yeah.
it doesn't impact your superhost status.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more turnovers you have, the busier you're going to be, and it's just no bueno for me. It doesn't work out.
No
Yeah.
bueno. No bueno. Now, first, I want to say congratulations because you 40 was that last year with 40 under 40?
Yes, it was.
40 under 40, right? I've never been nominated. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't love me like that. You know what I mean? That's cool. Maybe I can get a 50 under 50. Can I get a nomination? If I don't even know if that's
I'll nominate you.
Thank you.
I got you.
Y'all heard it here. If they have a 50 under 50, stay tuned. Look out for me. I need that. You know what I mean? Give me some recognition. But being a female in this space, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the challenges? Because I'm sure there's some little Kishons coming up that probably looking up and see you because you got a big social media presence, so they like, oh, she doing it.
Yeah. It is not easy as a female. Like, I won't even sugarcoat it. I've had some very tough days being in this industry. I think we're black female, less than 2% in commercial real estate are black female. Broker, like that hardly exists. But you have to know your why, and that's what always grounds you no matter the situation. And so that's what has been really helpful for me. And then knowing that I am really trying to leave a legacy and bring people with me. So even with my team Evolve, there are 6 of us on the team. Some of them are females, and there's a mixture, about half and half. But if I didn't do what I did to be here, I could not support them coming through as well. So that's really important to me. Plus, I'm just, people tease me and say, you your daddy's son. Like, I'm just a tomboy, and I just, I jump and I figure it out on the way down.
Yeah. So you got to push through, you know. There are going to be challenges. There are always going to be naysayers, right?
Yeah,
there are going to be people that are going to try to put a roadblock or a hurdle in front of you. Don't let that stop you. I mean, Kishon is proof that, you can make it happen. And when I say she's making it happen, she's making it happen. I'm proud. We've known each other for about 6 years now, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, when I say this is my sister. Like, we argue, we go at it. Like, literally, it's like that. But nothing but love for her, and I've seen your growth, right? I mean, I've seen it. I mean, and I've seen you put the work in, and I applaud you. I'm proud of you, and I know things are you still got, you ain't even scratched the surface yet. I know you haven't. I know you haven't. So what can you tell our audience about the development world, the development community, and how small it is, and what can they expect to try to enter that space? When I say development community, I mean, like, because real estate is real estate, right? When we talk about the development community, that's a small community, right, of people who are doing $10 million, $100 million, $200 million developments, right? What does it look like to get into that space?
So one, there's a lot of education involved. It is also not an easy world to be in. Right. I've kind of learned that firsthand through projects that I've worked on, the small ones from the duplex, to now trying to get 30 plus units off the ground. Yeah. I would say, just like with real estate, commonality is network. If you feel like you can do it alone, I would say don't even do it. Because you need a community. You need people who've been there already to kind of help you and guide you along the way, because it's so nuanced. Getting your money together, your financing together, your capital stack together for the project. And then understanding the players in the municipalities as well. That's a whole nother thing. Right. So it's a small community, and I understand why now, because it's not for the faint of heart. Not at all. But it's so rewarding. Absolutely. So
absolutely.
Do it.
And now you mentioned community. How important community, right? How important is community engagement when it comes to, a potential development, right? Because I know you get out here, right? How important is that component of your development project or proposed development project?
Community engagement is huge. And it is an area that I'm good at, but honestly, I'm an introvert at heart. Like, which is crazy because in spaces, I'm very outgoing, but it is something I have to really push myself to do. A community, though, can really break your project. So you have to go out there and engage with them. I attended a community meeting not too long ago at a precinct, and it was very intimidating. Before, I'm like, oh my goodness, like you have to present your project in front of law enforcement, in front of community organizations, and I was my daddy's son. I just went in there and I'm like, I want to tell them about my project, tell them who I am, and it went over very well. But those are the things that you have to do to get support. We're going to need support from the police, to make sure as we're building our stuff doesn't get stolen. We're going to need support for the residents once they get in there. So you got to engage the community. You cannot just go and decide, oh, right here, I'm going to build this because this is what I think it needs without engaging them.
They'll shut you down.
Absolutely.
Shut you down.
And rightly so.
Right? So we had another guest on here, Brother Clyburn from the city of Highland Park, and we were talking about this like city council and how important it is for them to have vision, but it's just as important for the residents to have vision. But in order for them to have the vision, you have to clearly explain what your vision is, right? And get them on board. Because I've been in city council meetings and seen residents stand up and like
they go off.
And they will go off.
Yeah.
And it'll be awkward, right? It'll be an awkward situation, and you like, wait a minute, right? Because you didn't do your engagement, right? Absolutely. Because had you done that, then you would already have people on board. So community engagement important. Get the community involved. Make sure everybody is. Let me not say everybody because it's going to always be hard to get everyone to buy in, but at least get the majority, right? Get the 80%. Majority on board, 80% on board. Which, if what you're proposing makes sense, should not be hard to do, but people want to feel like they're included, right?
Absolutely.
That's really all it boils on. They want to feel like they're included. They want to feel like that you care about them, right?
Yes.
So, broker, you're in a development community, you invest. Like, what is the next thing? I mean, because you were already, and what's left? What's left? What do you want to do next? What's on the horizon?
So 2 things for me. One, I named my company intentionally Evolve Global. And the basis for that is love. I think love helps someone to evolve beyond expectations. And then I want to go outside of the United States. I want to be a global broker. I don't know when that's going to come about. I don't necessarily know how, but I'm going to make it happen.
You didn't already put it into the universe.
I did.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then here locally, I recently was awarded a contract with the Detroit Land Bank.
Okay.
To manage all of their commercial assets. That includes land and that includes structures as well. I know there's a lot of... I would say not good things said about the Detroit Land Bank and their interaction with the citizens and developers of the community, but I'm really hoping to change that with my background. And I'd love to be able to put some things together to put in front of these developers to say, hey, here are 6-10 parcels. I know you build 10 units. This is the perfect amount of land for you. It's already pre-approved for the type of development that you do. Take it and build this community. So
wow,
I think it's gonna be a tall order, but it's something I'm very committed to here.
Wow.
Locally.
So the land bank. So a lot of people there's a misconception about the land. A lot of things, a misconception about the land bank, but the land bank is not the city, right? They're their own
entity,
separate entity, right? The land bank is separate from the city of Detroit.
Correct.
Are they a private company?
They are, but they work hand in hand.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
how how difficult is it, or and if it's too early on, but I know you probably have done your due diligence. Like, how difficult is it? Because if I got money, and I'm just speaking of kind of what I know about the land bank and kind of want our audience to understand, just because I have money doesn't mean I can purchase a property, right?
1,000%.
What do I need? So I got the money, but that's not enough. What do I need?
Well, you've got to understand too that they want to see certain things in this community. I mean, it's not necessarily tied with the city, but it's in very close partnership.
Okay.
So obviously, the city has a master plan. They have things that they want to see developed in certain neighborhoods, and so it is not, you can just go take your cash and buy this parcel of land. There's things that you have to submit, complete, fill out to help them to understand what you'll be doing with that land or that structure, and that will allow you to kind of move forward. The it's a little arduous right now, the process.
Okay.
So hopefully my goal is to help streamline some of those things to make it a little bit easier for investors to go and do it.
And that's a good thing. One, what you want to do with it. I'm sure some experience, your level of experience based on the project has something to do with that.
Absolutely.
And it's good that they're vetting out, because the city of Detroit, and this goes back to, and I don't know when the Wayne County tax auction first started, but I know I was buying properties in the Wayne County tax auction probably like 2007, 2008. Around that time, and a lot of those properties ended up coming back into the auction, because you had a lot of out of state, out of country investors buying properties sight unseen, doing Google searches and seeing, and what they bought was not what they thought they were buying, or was too much of a project, and then these properties ended up coming right back into auction. So they sat on the books for 3 years without any taxes being paid on them. So it was kind of just it was a negative situation. So it's a good thing now. It's like, okay, we're not just going to allow people to buy these properties without, one, knowing that you have the financial resources to do so, the experience, and then let me see the timeline and what the project is, so we know that this is going to happen, or we'll take the property back, right?
Absolutely.
Because they will take it back if you don't.
They will, yeah. A lot of them will have reverter clauses in them.
Reverter clauses. So that's something that people need to be aware of, because if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, you dump some money into something and they come and play snatchies with you, right? We taking this back, right? We taking this back. But unfortunately that's what needs to happen, or otherwise you'll have people that are just buying properties, sitting on them for 3, 4, 5 years, and they're in a blighted, state, and that doesn't benefit anyone, right?
1,000%.
Especially if the developers that are around are trying to do something. Now they got to look at your property that's sitting there with nothing going on. It could be a safety hazard beyond an eyesore, just so many things. So that's a good thing. So
it is.
You got the land bank evolve. We're going overseas with it at some point in time.
Absolutely.
I mean, anything else you want us to know?
I think that is enough for now. My plate is full, and I'm not mad about it, because it's what I asked for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna focus. I'm 10 toes down in that, and that's what I'm gonna do. I hope to leave a legacy. I hope that people are inspired, other women are inspired to be in this space, and know that they have a resource, someone that they can come to for support.
Absolutely. Ms. Kishon Harbert, you heard her. She said her plate is full, but what she asked for, I tell people that all the time. And I say I'm busy, but I'm not complaining, because it's what I asked for.
Yep.
Don't complain about the things that you asked for, right?
Nope.
Because there's always the
alternative.
Be the
opposite.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then what, right?
I'll be mad.
And you'll be mad. Kishon, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We're looking forward to greater things. I mean, you're already doing great things, but greater things in the future. And we're going to definitely applaud you and be an advocate for you moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you.
Of course.
All right.